Robert and Lydia were a couple who had been dating for 4 years. They were engaged and deeply committed to each other, and it seemed as though they were very much in love. Their families approved of their relationship, and everything was going well. However, Lydia was unaware that her fiancé, Robert, had been having a secret affair with another woman named Patricia for the past 2 years. Despite his affair, Robert believed he had found the true love of his life in Lydia and was determined to end his relationship with Patricia to fully commit to Lydia. He did not want to be seen as a shameless cheater and viewed Patricia as nothing more than a fleeting passion. Weeks before the wedding, Patricia revealed to Robert that she was pregnant with his child. In that moment, Robert was overwhelmed with mixed emotions but realized he could not let his child grow up without a father. He decided to stay with Patricia, believing it was the right thing to do. This decision brought Robert and Patricia closer, and they vowed to love each other and stay together for the sake of their child. The day of the wedding arrived, and everyone was eagerly awaiting the union of Robert and Lydia. Lydia was excited and happy, surrounded by her joyous friends and family, unaware of the impending heartbreak. As time passed and Robert did not show up, Lydia grew anxious. Finally, her phone rang, and it was Robert on the other end. "Lydia, I'm sorry, but we cannot get married," he said. "I love another woman. We are running away together. I wish you happiness. She is pregnant, and I cannot let my child grow up without a father." Lydia was shocked and devastated by the news. She responded, "How can you be such a scoundrel, Robert? You are despicable. You deceived me all this time."
Robert, sounding nervous, replied, "I'm sorry, Lydia.
"I never wanted it to be like this. I had a secret relationship with Patricia, but I never stopped loving you. My feelings were confused, but now I know I love Patricia and must live with her and my child. Forgive me. I wish you happiness and hope you find a man who truly loves you. It wouldn't be fair to continue deceiving you and myself."
I'm truly sorry."
Through her tears, Lydia said, "I did everything for you, and this is how you repay me. Everything in life comes back around, and one day, you will pay for what you did to me. This isn't a curse, it's fate." Lydia hung up the phone, her face a picture of sadness and disappointment. She turned to the guests and, with great sorrow, announced, "There will be no wedding. The groom has left me over the phone. He has run away with his pregnant mistress. Robert is a disgrace and a shameless man who deceived me and made me look like a fool. I'm sorry, but you are all free to go. If you wish to take your gifts back, please do." At that moment, everyone looked at Lydia with pity as she stood there, desolate and heartbroken. Robert's family apologized, saying they had not raised him to behave this way and never intended for Lydia to suffer. Lydia acknowledged that Robert's family was not to blame and bid them farewell, still in her wedding dress, supported by her own family. She endured a great deal of suffering, but her parents, siblings, and friends stood by her side throughout the ordeal. Meanwhile, across the city at an airport, Robert and Patricia boarded a plane and moved to another state to escape the disapproving and outraged glances they knew they would face. Patricia and Robert moved forward with their lives, becoming a family together. Meanwhile, Lydia was left heartbroken and completely devastated by the wedding that never happened. She fell into a deep depression, feeling increasingly sad and hopeless. However, 3 years later, with the support of her family and friends, and after undergoing various psychiatric treatments, Lydia began to recover. She took up running, started going to the gym, pursued further studies, and secured a job at a company. One day at her new job, Lydia met a man named Christopher. He was a young, elegant, handsome, and refined man from a wealthy family who owned the company. Despite his wealth and high social status, Christopher was very humble and kind. Lydia worked as Christopher's secretary, and he always treated her with the utmost respect. He never used his power to humiliate or abuse his employees and subordinates, always treating everyone with fairness and equality. Lydia was proud of her middle-class background and never hid it. Over time, Christopher developed feelings for Lydia and seemed genuinely fond of her. One day, gathering all his courage, he asked Lydia, "Hello, Lydia. Would you like to go out with me sometime?" Lydia was touched and happy by his request. Out of respect for her boss, she accepted, even though she wasn't looking for a relationship due to the lasting effects of being abandoned at the altar and her lost trust in men. She preferred to live a single life. Christopher noticed her indifference but tried not to pressure her, respecting her feelings. However, her indifference only fueled his determination. He would not give up on her, and their friendship grew. Christopher fell even more in love with Lydia and became determined to win her heart. He organized a dinner at his house and invited her. During the dinner, Christopher confessed his feelings, saying, "I have been in love with you since the first time I saw you. I can't get you out of my mind. Will you be my girlfriend?" Lydia was moved and deeply touched by Christopher's declaration but hesitated. Trembling with surprise, she said, "I am very happy, Christopher. But you come from a high position, and I am from a simple, humble family. I don't have wealth and wasn't born rich like you. Are you sure about this?" With a smile on his face, Christopher replied, "Lydia, my parents were middle class like you, and they worked hard to get where they are. They taught me many principles, and thanks to them, I am the person I am today. I love you and want to make you happy." Lydia, who had already developed feelings for Christopher, decided to give herself a chance and accepted his proposal. Christopher's family seemed to like Lydia, and she got along very well with his parents and siblings. They welcomed her warmly, and Lydia found herself feeling at home with them. 2 years passed, and one day at Christopher's house, in front of his parents and siblings, Christopher knelt before Lydia and presented a wedding ring. "Lydia, will you marry me? Will you be my wife and the lady of my life?" Upon seeing the wedding ring, Lydia felt a mixture of sadness and joy. Christopher noticed her reaction and asked, "What's wrong, my love? Did I do something wrong? Tell me what's troubling you, and I will fix it immediately." Lydia responded, "No, Christopher, you did nothing wrong." But seeing this ring brought back some painful memories. Christopher's mother asked, "What happened, my dear? Please explain. Whatever the problem is, we will help you." Christopher added, "Tell us, my love. We are here to listen and understand whatever it is." Lydia then recounted the entire story of her previous wedding, where she was abandoned at the altar by her unfaithful fiancé, who ran away with his pregnant mistress, and all the suffering she had endured. Christopher and his family listened attentively, feeling her pain as she spoke. Christopher's family was deeply moved by Lydia's story and felt a profound sympathy for her. With a heavy heart, Christopher opened up to Lydia and said, "My love, I understand exactly how you feel. I've been through it too. I know the pain you're experiencing." Surprised, Lydia asked, "What do you mean, Christopher? Someone in your position, with your status and everything you have, couldn't have gone through this. My goodness, the world is so small." Christopher, visibly emotional, replied, "I was about to get married 3 years before I met you. My fiancée left me at the altar and ran away with her ex-boyfriend. Everything you suffered, I suffered too. I fell into a deep depression, cried endlessly, and even lost my sense of purpose. But thanks to my family, I recovered, and now I'm here. I know how you feel because I felt it too." Lydia, holding Christopher's hand and feeling a newfound sense of confidence that she had found true love, accepted his proposal. After 6 months of meticulous preparations for their big day, Christopher stood at the altar, waiting for his beloved. Lydia arrived in a stunning dress, and in front of all their guests, they exchanged vows and were married. Both families were overwhelmed with emotion. 3 months later, Lydia found out she was pregnant, news that brought Christopher immense joy. The prospect of parenthood filled the couple with happiness. Meanwhile, Robert and Patricia were living their supposed fairy tale, but were on the verge of a shocking surprise. One day, Patricia and Robert were at home when there was a knock on the door. To their astonishment, a ghost from Patricia's past appeared. It was a man named Bernard. Nervously, Patricia exclaimed, "I can't believe it. How did you find me? And what are you doing here? You're such an idiot." Equally agitated, Bernard replied, "It doesn't matter how I found you. Where is our son? I want to see our son." Yelling, Patricia demanded, "Get out of here. Leave now." However, Bernard grabbed her and insisted, "It doesn't matter. I want you and our son. I love both of you." He then embraced Patricia and kissed her passionately. At that moment, Robert walked in and witnessed the scene, demanding, "Patricia, What are you doing with this guy? I want an explanation now." Sarcastically, Bernard addressed both Patricia and Robert, saying, "You left your fiancé at the altar and are raising another man's child. How foolish are you, Robert?" Infuriated, Robert tried to confront Bernard, but Patricia attempted to calm him down. Mockingly, Bernard revealed, "That boy you're raising isn't your son. I am the real father." Stunned, Robert turned to Patricia and said, "Patricia, tell me this isn't true." Nervous and stuttering, Patricia was at a loss for words. Bernard continued, "In fact, this woman has been with you just to get your money all these years. You can do a DNA test if you want. She never told me about the pregnancy. I found out through a friend. She was with both of us, but I am the real father." In that moment, Robert's world came crashing down. Everything he believed was revealed to be a lie. Tearfully, he said, "How could you do this to me, Patricia? I left my future wife at the altar to be with you. I moved to another state, leaving everything behind, and this is how you repay me." Crying, Patricia pleaded, "It's not the boy's fault." Robert, resolute, replied, "Enough, Patricia. You won't manipulate me any longer. Here is the real father of your child. I won't be responsible for a child that isn't mine. Since the house is in your name and was a gift from me, you can keep it, but my financial support ends now. I regret leaving a wonderful woman like Lydia for someone like you. I'm going back to my home state to rebuild my life and leave your manipulative games behind. It's over, Patricia. I never want to see you again. Get out of my life," Robert declared with finality. He went to the bedroom, packed his bags, and left the house. Before departing, he said a heartfelt goodbye to the boy, recognizing the child's innocence in the whole situation. Patricia and Bernard remained there. Bernard tried to embrace Patricia, but she rejected him, frustrated at having been exposed. Robert boarded a plane back to his home state, where he faced the repercussions of his actions. His friends turned their backs on him, and his family rejected him. The weight of their disapproval left him deeply saddened. Desperate for information about Lydia, he pleaded with everyone, but no one was willing to talk. Finally, one friend gave him Lydia's address, warning that he might not like what he would find there. Determined to seek forgiveness and perhaps rekindle their relationship, Robert went to see Lydia. Upon arriving at the address, he found himself standing before a mansion. He saw Lydia, now heavily pregnant, gently cradling her 7-month belly. Summoning his courage, Robert knocked on the door. Lydia, surprised to see him, said, "Robert, it's been a long time. I haven't seen you since you left me at the altar and ran off with your pregnant mistress." Tears streaming down his face, Robert knelt before her. "Lydia, my love, I've come to beg your forgiveness and ask for a second chance. Let's start over," he pleaded. Noticing her pregnancy, he asked, "You're pregnant?" Lydia responded kindly, "Yes, I'm 7 months pregnant. I'm going to be a mother." Seeing this, Robert felt a profound sense of sorrow and defeat. Lydia continued, "What about your child with Patricia? Aren't you a father?" Sobbing, Robert explained, "That child wasn't mine. Patricia deceived me. It was all a scheme she concocted. I wasn't the father." Lydia, showing empathy but firmness, replied, "I'm sorry, Robert. I'm married now and very happy. I met an incredible man who truly loves me. As you can see, I'm going to be a mother." Still on his knees and crying, Robert implored, "Lydia, please forgive me. Come back to me. We loved each other. Patricia tricked me. That child wasn't mine. I promise things will be different, and I will never betray or deceive you again. I understand now how much pain I caused you. I'll even raise this child as my own if that's what it takes. I still love you. You're the woman of my life. I never stopped thinking about you." Gently, Lydia said, "Robert, I forgave you a long time ago, but I no longer love you. You caused me so much pain and suffering. Now, I am truly happy. I hope you find a new love and that your life turns out well. Please don't come back here. My husband wouldn't like my ex-fiancé bothering us at our doorstep. Goodbye, Robert. I wish you all the best, and may God help you." Lydia slowly closed the door and went back inside, leaving Robert heartbroken and inconsolable on the doorstep. As he wept, he recalled Lydia's words from the day he fled with Patricia, feeling an immense remorse and realizing that life had exacted its toll for his betrayal. After carrying her pregnancy to term, Lydia gave birth to a healthy baby boy, bringing immense joy to Christopher and their families. Meanwhile, Robert faced the consequences of his choices. No woman wanted to be with him. His family wanted nothing to do with him, and his friends had cut all ties. Feeling abandoned and alone, Robert went to the nearest bus station and moved to another city. He spent every day missing Lydia, clutching a photo of her as a reminder of their engagement days.